So my earliest memories with video games is playing Double Dragon 2 with my older brother on the NES, and my cousins brought their NES down to visit us one day, and me and my brother were just introduced to so many new games that we've never really heard of or always had curiosity in. And Double Dragon 2 was like the first co-op game we played together for many, many hours, just overcoming the difficulty of the game. And once we beat it, we just played through it again and again and again. It just a lot of powerful nostalgic memories for there, like just spending a lot of time with my brother and having fun with the video game. And alongside Double Dragon 2, there was also Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. And with Mega Man 2 specifically, like I was still really new to the whole genre of the game, and I remember it being a really tough game. Like no matter which boss I chose, I couldn't even reach the boss to begin with. Like, and then when I did, I could never defeat them. And I remember very early on, the only boss I could defeat was Flashman, and that was it. And I just couldn't beat anymore. And as I kept playing for hours and hours of that game, just kept trying, I was able to defeat the 8 robot masters and eventually, years later, beat the whole game. And I remember how satisfying that was to see the end credits and stuff. It just felt such a huge accomplishment for me and be able to defeat such a hard game. And Mega Man 3 is even more difficult than 2, I find, and that took me even longer to complete. More co-op games we played together is Blue Shadow, and that game is really difficult as well. And then even to this day, we still can't beat it. It's just really difficult games, but at the same time, just a lot of nostalgic memories there. And then we also like to play Super Mario 3 as well, and I also have a lot of nostalgic memories for that. It's from the music, the characters, the power-up abilities, and the boss battles. It's just overall very nostalgic memories. And then from the NES, we moved on to the Super Nintendo, and I remember playing things like Street Fighter 2 with my brother and having a lot of great memories of that. But I think my most nostalgic memories on that system is probably playing Kirby's Fun Pack with my cousin. Like, he brought it down one time when he came to visit, and we played through it co-op, and I was just having a lot of fun with it. Like, I really liked all the cute visuals, the cute characters, and like the epic music, the awesome gameplay. And although I was like the straggler on player 2, because my cousin was much more experienced with that game, I was just mainly kept dying and kept revived by him. But again, it's just very powerful nostalgic memories. And then shortly after the Super Nintendo, my brother bought the Nintendo 64, and the games he got with it were Killer Instinct Gold and Lilac Wars. And I remember playing quite vigorously with my brother, especially Killer Instinct, having a lot of fun and great times with that game. But I remember playing Lilac Wars as well. It's just such a groundbreaking game at the time, like both visually, and then it had a lot of voice acting and had a lot of stuff going on. It was just, back in those days, it was just really groundbreaking to see that tech in gaming. It really felt like the step up on generation from the Super Nintendo. And then I also remember playing GoldenEye a lot as well, and finding that game really hard but really fun at the same time. And then when my brother or cousins came down to visit, like we used to play like 4-player, playing against each other and hearing all the like music and the shout outs from all of us against each other. It was just overall a fun time. Another game that I played a lot was Super Mario 64, and I remember just first seeing the game magazine scans of this game and thought, wow, it looks really incredible. Like the graphics look really groundbreaking, and it just felt like such a huge step in gaming. And then when the game came out, I just played it for hours and hours and just really enjoyed every moment of it, from the gameplay to the characters and especially the amazing music. And collecting all the stars, it's just very nostalgic memories for me. Alongside Mario 64, I also remember playing Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like, Again, this was such a groundbreaking game at the time with the really impressive visuals, the storytelling, the fact that you can talk to any NPC was just mind blowing back in the day. It was like, whoa, it's almost like a real world that you can interact with. Like, you can pretty much almost go anywhere you want to, and you can talk to anyone who you meet. It's just, and then the really tight controls and amazing gameplay, which with awesome music, the memorable bosses. It's just such an amazing experience and game for me, and have a lot of great memories playing on the N64. But I think the game that really got me to become a Nintendo fan that I am now is Super Smash Bros. Like, I remember my cousins bringing this game down, introducing the game to us, because I never really heard of the game until they brought it down. Like, I was just like, what is Super Smash Bros? And then I saw that it had Mario. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then it had Link. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But and it had Pikachu and Kirby. When they started the game and I started playing, I had no idea who Samus was, or Captain Falcon, or even who Ness was. I was just like, who are these characters? I've never heard of them. And ever since then, just playing countless hours with them, and then eventually getting the game myself and playing the game for countless hours, I started to learn more about Nintendo's history and got me interested in trying out all these other games like F-Zero and Metroid, and from there that's how I really mainly became a Nintendo fan, really. And then shortly after playing N64, the Sony PlayStation came out, and my brother also bought that, and my main memories of playing on that system are games like Soul Reaver. Again, seeing that intro for the first time is very groundbreaking, like seeing all those graphics and how much of a step up in visuals it is. And then I remember my brother's friend owning a PS1 as well, and he'd sometimes bring his own games. And one of the games I mainly remember him bringing was Soul Blade, and again, this was a groundbreaking game because it's like one of the pretty much my first entry into a 3D arena styled fighting game. The fact that you can sidestep and like do a lot of like juggling sort of combos that other fighting games didn't at the time, it was just very mind blowing and awesome. And the music as well is just amazing, and meeting all the various unique characters and stuff. It's just, again, very nostalgic memories. This is when I kind of started getting into the Mega Man X games mostly. Like I played Mega Man X a little bit on the Super Nintendo, but I never actually owned it. And then when my brother got the PS2, he bought me Mega Man X3, and I just played that for hours and hours, and just enjoying that game so much, like with the awesome anime cutscenes, the really tight and fast-paced gameplay, unique bosses, and amazing music. And I remember having a lot of fun, but at the same time really frustrated because that game is so hard, and even to this day, I still struggle to actually finish it. But when I did finish it for the first time, it was so satisfying. It's like, yeah, I beat Mega Man X3, probably one of the hardest games ever. It was just an amazing experience and memories for me. And then my brother got the Sega Dreamcast, and this was kind of my real first introduction into like Sega games, playing things like Sonic Adventure, which was really awesome. Like seeing that intro for the first time, it's like, whoa, it looks really realistic and stuff. It's just, and then from the voice acting to the fast-paced gameplay and the rather tight controls, it's just a very amazing experience. And then playing Sonic Adventure 2 as well, it's just, those two together has just become some of my very personalized and powerful memories in gaming. And then after that, my brother eventually got a PlayStation 2, and I got X7 as well, and I enjoyed the game back then, and it was a unique idea to introduce it into 3D, but overall for me it was a bit too slow in the gameplay department, and Some levels felt a bit tedious to play through, but overall I still have quite fond memories of the game. And then I got X Command Mission, and at the time when that game came out, I was really into RPGs, just playing a lot of RPGs like Tower Symphonia and my all-time favorite, Skies of Arcadia, and some of the Final Fantasies. And when X Command Mission came out, it was merging two of my favorite franchises together, RPG and Mega Man X, and creating this role-playing X game. I was like, whoa, this is awesome, and I played through it for countless hours, and overall have a lot of fond memories of that game as well. And then about 2 years into the life cycle of the PlayStation 2, my brother moved out to study at universities. And this was also the time where I got my very own console, which I asked for my birthday, and that is the Nintendo GameCube. Playing on the system again, it was really groundbreaking. It just felt like the next step in gaming. And I remember getting Rogue Squadron and Super Smash Bros. Melee as my first two games. I remember just playing Rogue Squadron for many hours and liking it as well, but it was Melee that really got me hooked. Like, I played that game just so many hours. Like, to this day, I think it's still my most played game. It's well into the thousands of hours, I'd imagine. I just remember anxiously staring at magazine scans all the time, waiting for that game to release, and just got desperate after each day. And when the game finally came out, I just played it religiously and endlessly, and just really enjoyed every moment of it. From the characters to the deep gameplay and to all the different modes, seeing all the trophies through Nintendo's history and learning about them, and then unlocking the secret characters and finding out who Marth and Roy and what Fire Emblem was, and seeing Mr. Game & Watch for the very first time. And it's just very powerful and nostalgic memories for me. And to this day, the Smash Brothers franchise is my favorite series of all time. So that merged with being a Nintendo fan, it's just become a very huge part of my life. And each time a new Smash game is announced, I just get really excited and can't wait for all the reveals of what characters are going to be included, and gets me excited and looking forward to the future when that game comes out. Yeah, so playing the GameCube, and then I went on to play on the Wii and parts of the Xbox 360 when my brother came back from university, and playing on the Wii U and now the Switch. So yeah, that's pretty much my history with video games. So it's been about almost 30 years now since I've started playing games, and I know video games get quite a bad reputation a lot of times. Like, people always say that it influences violence and kind of corrupts people's minds into doing like violent actions, like harming others with weapons and stuff, because like video games has a lot of violence in them. And although I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, so there's a lot of other sort of entertainment like movies and books and stuff that also have violence and can influence others, but you don't really hear a lot of reports of people blaming movies and books, like how it influences their children or whatever violent behavior. So I do feel like video games, for the most part, do get quite a bad reputation and mostly negative sort of news from it. But for me personally, video games has helped me a lot over the years. Like, because I suffer with mental health and stuff, and I'm always really depressed a lot of times. Video games have always been there to really lift up my mood and just overall just bring a smile to my face. Keeps me looking forward to future games that are coming out, and I always have a happy time playing them. And of course, my main source of music is video game music, so without video games I wouldn't be able to listen to all these awesome video game themes that I like to listen to. So for me personally, video games are a large part of my life and really helps me with my mental health and stuff. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, always look forward, keep hope alive, and remember, you're somebody.